everyone. Welcome to LexTalk World talk show presented by Clickway Creators. Today we have Mrs. Sushila Ram Varma with us. She is a lawyer with 25 plus years of experience and expertise in business, corporate, and commercial law. She is the co-founder and chief consultant of the Indian Lawyer and Allied Service, a multi-city boutique law firm, which provides multidisciplinary service to clients with the object of acting as one-stop shop for all their professional needs. Let's talk to her straight and get some more insights from her. Hello, Mrs. Varma. Thank you for joining us. Can you please introduce your firm and tell us a little more about it?
Yes. The Indian Lawyer and Allied Services is a multi-city law firm. Currently, we are operating out of New Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Chennai. We are, however, servicing clients pan-India through our network of associates, which is across India. We are a business and commercial law firm, and we specialize in business laws. In this, we do the entire range of practice. That is, we start with the advisory, then we do the negotiations, then we do the transactional work. Thereafter, the operational aspects are taken care of by us. And of course, finally, the dispute resolution in case there is a problem, that is the litigation or the arbitration. We are servicing all types of clients, from the individual to the multi-billion-dollar company. And we take great pride in saying that we have a number of satisfied clients to our credit. Recently, the Indian Lawyer and Allied Services has been awarded the Best Boutique Business Law Firm India for the Asia Pacific region by AI Online Media, which is the world's largest magazine producer.
Wow, many congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And how would you describe your journey as a lady lawyer? Because being a lawyer, I think being a boutique law firm owner and promoter for that, you have provided a lot of services in this. So how would you describe your journey as a lady lawyer?
Well, Abhishek, in one simple word, very challenging. But then it has got nothing to do with being a lady or a man. The legal profession is such, because it's so tough and we are troubleshooters, it would be challenging for any person. So other than that, I would say my journey has been very interesting because to begin with, I'm a first generation lawyer. So I didn't have anybody to help me learn the ropes. I had to do everything by myself. I come from a business family where law is not really that important unless and until you have a problem. So I had to learn the entire ropes. I had to learn it the hard way. But then now, after so many years, I realized that everyone who's practicing law has to learn it the hard way. There are no shortcuts in this profession. There's only one mantra, which is work hard, and only then can you get the success that you're hoping to get.
I completely agree with you on this. And what attracted you to practice law and start your own firm?
In my case, I would say it's pure destiny. Like I said earlier, I come from a business family, because of which I was interested in going into the field of business. I was very keen after I did my graduation. I was very keen on doing my management from IIM. But before I tried for that, my father suggested that I should try and do law so that if I had a working knowledge, it would help me in the long run. Taking his advice, I joined law. And before I knew it, I fell in love with the subject. It was so tough, it was so challenging, and it was so dynamic. So all these factors made me realize that I would rather be a lawyer than a businesswoman.
That's wonderful. And who were your inspiration when you joined this particular domain?
Well, when I joined the line in the beginning, there were so many stalwarts in the profession. And as luck would have it, I joined my practice at the Supreme Court level. So one would see, a huge number of very successful lawyers, and from each lawyer you learn something. So it would be very difficult to really pinpoint any particular lawyer as such. But yes, there were people like Mr. Ramjit Malani and all, with whom I did, from whom I did learn a lot, because he was obviously the topmost in the country. So he had a lot to teach everyone. So there were several lawyers apart from him that were instrumental in my learning process. And it was very interesting watching these big lawyers argue in court, see how they had come prepared. And one learned so much by and by. But of course, it does take a very long time. So initially, it may have seemed very glamorous from far, but ultimately one realizes that one has to put in a lot of hard work to get where you want to go.
That's absolutely correct. So, like, you have been in the legal industry. So, my next question for you is, what do you feel are the contributing factors in being a good lawyer?
From my personal experience, I feel the first important aspect is discipline. Actually, Abhishek, I don't think it's discipline only for the legal industry. I think you need to be disciplined to be a success in life. It doesn't matter which field. So, in my opinion, definitely discipline. The second would be hard work. There are no shortcuts in this profession. You have to put in a lot of hard work. The third, I would say, which is very important, is sincerity. You have to be very sincere to your clients and to your work, and that definitely pays off. And lastly, I would say very good communication skills, both written as well as oral. I think these would be the contributing factors to success.
Wonderful. I completely agree with you on this, because not only in the legal profession, but in any other business, these
Yes.
are the essential factors which are required.
Yes.
That's correct. So, according to you, how much does a law degree from a reputed college contributed to the success of a lawyer? What do you think about this?
Well, see, the premier institutes like the national law schools, which we have currently, we have a number of them. They definitely have a very big role to play in the initial stages of one's career, because you are better taught, you come with more experience, you have been given good placements. So, all these things definitely contribute to your success in the beginning. But frankly, at the end of the day, I feel that if you have really put in a lot of hard work, you have the intelligence, you are disciplined, then it doesn't really matter from where you pass out. Ultimately, you have to make sure that whatever brief comes your way, whichever client comes your way, you're able to service the client well. And once that is done, then it really doesn't matter whether you're from a premier institute or a small institute.
So, I heard you that you were a first generation lawyer. So, a woman professional in the legal field, do you feel it is more difficult to succeed?
Well, when we were first joined law, which was a long time ago, uh, women were in a very, very, I would say we were a minority. We would probably be just 2 to 3% of the legal, sector. So at that point of time, the general feeling that one had is it's a male-dominated profession. And we also noticed that most male lawyers had this condescending attitude that these people are here to practice only till they get married. And once they are married, then they just go to abandon the profession. They felt that we were not serious about the profession and that we would not stay. I'm glad to prove all those people wrong. And I have stayed and I plan to continue working till my very last day. Other than that, I would say being a woman at certain levels was very helpful. For instance, when we practiced in courts, we noticed that a number of judges were very inclined to hear us. If we made mistakes, they would correct us, they would encourage us. And then there were also a number of seniors who believed that, yes, if women were in the industry, they should be encouraged. So at that level, at a very senior level, there was a lot of encouragement. But other than that, yes, there were certain difficult moments because you were in a male-dominated profession, and sometimes the very long hours were a little difficult. And a place like Delhi, which is not very safe for women. So there were some hiccups and hindrances. But then ultimately, I think you just have to take it in your stride, and you just have to go on with a lot of courage, and lo behold, you are successful.
Absolutely. So, what is your experience of working with international clients?
I would say my experience has been great. I have been working with international clients from New Zealand till the United States of America. It is very different when you compare it with Indian clients. I would say mostly so because in overseas, when clients contact professionals, they take the advice of the professionals seriously, and they are ready to do whatever the professional guides them. Other than that, because of the sheer multicultural, one learns a lot when one is working with people in different parts of the world, and it's very interesting. Also, each country will have its own specific kind of laws, and since many a times when we are dealing with foreign clients, we work with lawyers in that particular country from where the client is. So that exposes us to a different kind of, what should I say, world. Even the laws at times are very different. So in that sense, I think it's very interesting. Other than that, there is also another aspect, and that is international clients always expect a certain standard. So always trying to reach that standard is challenging, but not difficult. One only has to make sure that one gives the best possible results. And at this juncture, I'd like to stop and say that we do not just focus on giving best results, or we do not just focus on the best interests of the clients only if they are international. We do it for all clients, irrespective of where they come from.
Wonderful. And like, how can cross-border entities like ensure smooth operations in India? So, what do you suggest here?
Yes, this is an extremely interesting question, since I attend a lot of international conferences, and I have been telling people, and I'm a speaker at a lot of international conferences, including International Chamber of Commerce. So I always tell foreign clients coming to India, you need a lawyer right at the beginning. You don't need a lawyer when there's a problem. You need a lawyer to avoid the problems. So, having said that, I would say that all clients, all business clients must have a lawyer right on day one, point one, so that they are correctly advised, they know which way to go, and they can, lessen the stress of problems that arise if things go wrong.
Okay. So, in your personal level, like, how do you maintain your work-life balance?
Well, it is very tough. Being a woman, you have to juggle so many balls. It's not easy. Uh, the practice of law is a very tough practice. It takes up a lot of your time. But I guess one has to be very focused on what one really wants in life. So I think for women, although it's not so easy, we have to try and compartmentalize our lives. Like, we have to keep specific hours for work and specific hours for home. Of course, it's not so easy, because even when you're at home, you're constantly, especially if you have a problematic matter, it's always there at the back of your mind. Other than that, there are many times when your duties as a family member, as a wife, as a daughter, and there are many other relationships. These take precedence over your professional time, and it can be very tough because you have to do justice to both the profession and at the same time to your personal life. Very recently, about 6 months ago, I had one of the most difficult times trying to balance the profession and my personal life. My husband, who had corona, had to be admitted to the hospital because things went wrong. And I remember that I was the main speaker at a webinar, and the webinar was on a very tough subject in law, which is the insolvency and bankruptcy laws. And things got worse on the day when I had to be part of the webinar. There was no way I could excuse myself because it was hosted by a Chambers of Commerce, and they had already got a number of viewers who had already registered. I still remember that night, one night before the webinar, my team had prepared very good papers. They had prepared everything that I needed to know on the subject. But I didn't have the time to read it. And I got up at 1 o'clock at night, and for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I went through everything when my husband was resting. And next morning, when the webinar began at around 11 o'clock, all I was doing was looking at the clock and wondering, when would it end? When would I, be in a position to take my husband to the hospital? And, in those days, the second day, things were really bad. Getting into a good hospital was virtually impossible. So all those things were difficult, but I think God has been kind, and one just learns to balance everything and take it in your stride.
Right.
I personally believe
Is also
that fortune favors the brave. So I think if you are brave, you just kind of are able to meet all the challenges.
Right. And self-motivation is also a key factor here.
Yes, definitely.
So do you think that the legal fraternity can contribute to nation building and beyond? It's a broader aspect.
Most certainly. In fact, I will say emphatically yes. If you have noticed that some of the biggest leaders in the world have been from the legal profession. Look at our father of the nation. He was a lawyer. Look at Barack Obama, President of the United States. He was a lawyer. Nelson Mandela was a lawyer. Mr. Putin is a lawyer. So you have several examples of lawyers being able to contribute to nation building. It is, of course, not necessary that they have to be part of politics. But what I'm trying to say is, if you have a good knowledge of the law, and you can contribute a lot to nation building, whether you are a leader in the political sense or whether you are just helping people understand different aspects of life as a mentor. So I think lawyers can really contribute to nation building. And we certainly give our inputs from time to time, and we certainly, try to work towards a better society. So in that sense, I think lawyers can certainly contribute to nation building.
Thank you for answering that. Thank you so much for joining in today, ma'am, and thank you so much for sharing such a great insights with us.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Yeah, so we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal business.
Sure. Thank you, Abhishek.
And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mrs. Verma, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from our industry leaders. This is Abhishek for LexTalk World.